What's going on, everybody? It is your boy Chris, man. I am here at the Work Hard, Play Harder podcast. It is Monday, February 9th, 2026, the day after the Super Bowl. I am Christopher Drummond. I am a freelance sports reporter based out of upstate New York here and proprietor of this podcast, Work Hard, Play Harder, where I bring individuals on to talk about their why and get to know them outside of their occupation. I got a very special guest that's on with me today, as she is working for Houston's ABC 13. She's also a Houston native. She is the director of community engagement, and she is also Emmy nominated journalist. Her name is Brittaney Wilmore. And we're going to talk to her about her why of getting into journalism, but we're also going to ask her some get to know you questions. So without any further ado, I introduce to you the talented and the beautiful Brittaney. Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks so much, Chris. I appreciate you having me.
I thank you. Thank you for coming on. I really do appreciate that. We've been in talks for a minute, so I'm glad we could be able to get this going for sure. My first question to you, Brittany, is the same as it always is with everybody that comes on here, and that is, what is your why? Why do you do what you do? Did you have any role models or any inspirations maybe growing up? But ultimately, what is your why for getting into the journalism industry?
Oh, wow. Well, um, I think I'll start off with I guess I kind of always had a knack for writing, for reading, and for watching the news and being aware of news anchors and all that comes in that industry. I'm going to
Hmm.
credit my parents for that. So I started to explore it more as, oh, this is a career when I was in high school,
Hmm.
starting off with a journalism class. And so I have to credit my teacher, Mrs. Hodges. I talk about her all the time because that's where I kind of learned the basics about journalism. There were current events quizzes and just
Absolutely.
being able to be in the know, basically.
Hmm.
And then from there, I took a newspaper course, and um, that was when newspapers were printed more often. I mean, I know that they still are, but
Sure.
we're
Sure.
certainly in more of a digital space now, to
Right.
say the least. It's probably an understatement. Um, but but I also would come home after school and watch Oprah with my mom, and so it was like,
Oh,
okay, what do you need to do do that, to be on the
right.
air or to transition from print to TV? And that's
Hmm.
when I learned that there was broadcast journalism. So that's what I ended up majoring in and studying in at school. But I think to go back to your question of why is I think I found that I enjoy telling stories. And, as we were talking a little bit before we started the podcast, that everybody has one, and that as a journalist, you have the voice and the power to be able to tell those stories,
Hmm.
and get them out there. And so I think for me, that's just kind of the amazing thing. And not just that, that people trust you, or in this case, me or my colleagues or whomever, and trust us with their stories, I think is the even bigger and better honor, because you want to do right by the people who are willing to open up to you. So I would probably say that's my why, is the storytelling, being able to, I always try to keep my guiding light as educating, informing, sometimes entertaining.
Right.
Just if someone can walk away from a story that I did or that our station produced, going, I didn't know that. Or maybe, that maybe my perspective has changed a little bit. I feel like if people can
Sure.
walk away being like, oh, okay, yeah, like that was different or that was cool, then that's really fulfilling to me. It's like, oh, okay, awesome. We taught something today.
I
But
love that. I love that. I really do. I love that, Brittany. And that's a great why. Great start to this conversation. Likewise for me. As a journalist, you wake up every day and you go into the office or you go into a publication or a network, whatever you're doing, and you never know what you're going to be doing. To me,
yeah.
that's probably the most favorite thing of it all is you never know who lives you're going to impact. You never know what story you're going to tell. You never know what stories is going to get pitched or get accepted for you to do. And that's the beauty about journalism. You know, I do the genre of sports predominantly, and my thing is you just never know how a game is going to play out.
That's right.
You never know. So, and you know that particularly I do print, but I've done broadcast before. But even in the print sense, my challenge has always been to try to write it in a descriptive way to that you can visualize yourself being there without being there.
Yeah.
And that's what I've always tried to do as a journalist, especially when it comes to sports. I want to know, kind of a bonus question. What is a couple of stories that you have done that have made a serious impact in your career?
Oh gosh. Well, um, there are so many different stories that I feel very blessed to have had the opportunity to have told.
Mhm.
But as I've continued to do this, and certainly there are way more people out there with years and decades of experience that I don't have, but I think as I've been able to tell stories more and more, I really love history and
Yeah,
stories that kind of uncover pieces of history that maybe you didn't always realize or know. So I
right.
would say one of the ones that probably had the biggest impact on me was a story I got to do in June 2024 for Black Music Month about Willie Mae Big Mama
Absolutely.
Thornton. And
Mhm.
so that story I think was uh, I forget how exactly I stumbled across it. Probably a little bit when it comes to the unexpected, Beyonce doing country music, things like
Oh
that.
yeah.
People are like,
Yeah.
"Oh, what's that?" When in reality, the history of it and the fact of the matter is that Black people, African American communities, other people of color have been part of these genres for years and years and years and years, and just didn't
Right.
get the credit for it. And so I had started to read a book about Black women in rock and roll. And the initial thought was, of course, we hear about Tina Turner, but
Yep.
just also the pioneers before her. And so I love a good Houston connection, and I love when there are national stories that have a Houston connection because I also feel like no matter how big a story is, someone's always from Houston in some capacity, or there's some suburb of
Mhm.
Houston that has something to do with it. And so, as it turns out, Willie Mae Big Mama Thornton was signed to Peacock Records, which is based out of Houston. And so, she was signed to that label when she recorded Hound Dog. And so, she didn't record Hound Dog in Houston, but she was signed to it here. So, anyway, I say all that to say that story probably had a big impact on me just because it was one of my favorite kinds to work on. You get to
Right.
uncover a little piece of history. I worked with an
Right.
amazing editor named John, and he helped me find just um, the Billboard charts from back in that time period, or there were interviews where you could hear her voice and she's talking about how she made it to Houston. So that's probably one of my favorites personally, just because I like being able to kind of dig a little bit and again just be like, did you guys know this?
I love it.
So anyway, that's probably one of my favorites. It's hard to say though because there are so many stories again that I've been able to do that aren't centered on myself, of course, but just being able to highlight whether it's a need or why we should care, why certain topics should matter. But
Right.
that's probably one of my recent favorites.
I love that. I do. I love that. I'm a huge history buff as well. Obviously, us both being African American, history is definitely important, not only in our culture, but in every culture of history. I love learning about different things. I love visiting different places.
Hmm.
Houston is a very special place to me because that's where my brother is at.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely shout out to the 713-832
Yeah.
area code. No doubt, no
Yeah.
doubt. I'm a huge, huge advocate for the city of Houston. I think downtown Houston is one of my favorite spots. You have great restaurants there, no question about that. Excuse me. So I love that. I love the fact that you gave that away. I think one of my favorite stories was a redemption story. And as I told you, I do sports, and I covered this team all season long, and they lost in the championship one year. And I was fortunate enough to come back and cover them the very next season. And their whole goal was getting back to the championship and facing the same team that beat them. It was like two juggernauts going at it. And you knew that these two teams were going to meet again. And they did. And it was in the sport of volleyball. And when they met, they finally got over the hump and they beat this team. And they went on to win a state championship the very next year. But the team that beat them the previous year won the state championship. So they dethroned them almost. But it was the first time that I really appreciated having a beat to cover a team and tell their story about redemption, but also look in their eyes. There were tears in their eyes because they knew they had fought so hard and they were so hungry and they just wanted it. And I can put myself there because this was a high school team and I played high school sports as well. And I remember the feeling of feeling so empty of when your season ended or when you lose in a championship game because I remember I lost in a championship. And to be able to tell that story, be able to talk to the coach, to be able to hear those emotions, be able to talk to those players and know how much it meant for them to get redemption, but also talk to the losing team because we covered them too and talk to them about how, passing the baton to them, being gracious champions and losing. I love stories like that. So that definitely resonated with me as well because it taught me that, even though that we're out here trying to win and compete and somebody's going to win and somebody's going to lose, you can still show humbleness. You can still
Right.
be gracious in defeat. You can still learn values from those games and implement them into your life for sure. And
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, I think that's probably one of my favorite things about sports.
Hmm.
I, for a time period, thought I wanted to be a sports reporter,
Hmm.
but I was always like, oh, I don't know the ins and outs of the game, and how am I going to be able to know what to ask? And so I
Hmm.
had some opportunities to be able to cover teams, but the advice that I received from an anchor that worked at the station that I interned at was that it's all about storylines.
Hmm.
Like even in sports, there's a storyline. It's not
Yes,
just
it is.
X's and O's, if you will, but there are
Hmm.
players who are they're people.
Right. Right.
Like you said, there's the redemption. So I think that I've grown to appreciate that a lot too, just in listening to sports, because I think that's also the beauty of sports a little bit too, is how unifying it is or can
Right.
be. And at the same time, the way sports finds itself right in the middle of culture. I feel like we
Hmm.
saw that in 2020 with George Floyd, and you saw
Yep.
more players making statements. And so suddenly it
Yep.
wasn't just go out there and play the game, they're using their voices, and, whether
Hmm.
it's that or any other issue that arises. But I've grown to appreciate sports even more because of that.
Well, we appreciate you, and I appreciate you very much because anybody who's obviously have seen you on camera or have seen you knows that you do incredible work. You're very passionate about what you do. You're very talented about what you do, and the camera absolutely loves you. There's no question about that either. So, there's no question that you do great work, Brittany. There's no question about that. Now, I want to ask you this because I believe you finished up at the University of Houston, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, go
I
Cougs.
want to, right, go Cougs, right? I want to know, were there any other schools that could have persuaded you from going to the University of Houston, or was you dead set on going there? Because I believe you started at Houston City College first, and then you
Yes.
made the transition.
Yes, correct. Um, you know, I feel very blessed because I've been able to do everything that I've done in my hometown, which I didn't
Yeah.
expect. I think like any college student, I certainly looked outside to other places and was like, oh, I just gotta get out of Texas, gotta get out of Houston.
Hmm.
And I was able to
Hmm.
do so for a bit, but just some different challenges ended up bringing me back home. And I think the reason that Houston City College, well, Houston Community College when I graduated from it,
Right.
and the
Right.
University of Houston are so dear to me is because I did have to start over in many ways. And when I thought that my dreams weren't going to be attainable or that I wasn't going to be able to finish college, um, it started with HCC. It started with the community college that allowed me to get back in there. So I think certainly, yes, I definitely had other thoughts about where I thought I wanted to be.
Hmm.
But like I said, I ended up coming back home and being able to find a space for myself here. And I loved my time at the University of Houston. I was able to do a lot there that I probably didn't think, because again, in high school and at age 18, I'm like, oh, I got to get out of here.
Mm-hmm. All
Um,
18-year-olds are like that. We all
right,
like that.
right. And
Mm-hmm.
then you get out into the real world, and it's like, oh, okay, it's kind of different out here. Um,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No
but
doubt.
I had a great experience, being able to go to the Jack J. Valenti School of Communications, and I think of a professor now, Professor Canville, just one of the many who influenced me. Um, because she had worked in the business and cared very much for her students and was passionate about helping students get in. So I think that inspired me a lot. And then just being able to study abroad while I was at the University of Houston again.
Oh, okay.
Just so anyway, yeah, Houston schools, I'm all about them.
I
Just
love
because
it.
again, I was able to have some opportunities that, initially when I started out, I was like, I can't do that here. But I was able to, so I'm grateful for that.
I love that. Now, you said study abroad. Where did you study abroad while you was at Houston?
I studied abroad in France, so
Wow. Okay.
that was one of my goals. I knew that. I knew ever since high school that I wanted to do that. So I'm grateful I was able to have that happen.
Absolutely. That is amazing. And I'll have to call you for some recs for sure, because that's the place I would definitely want to travel to and get some recommendations of where I should go and what I should do. So that's for sure. I love that. I'm going to ask you some favorite questions, Brittany, and
Okay.
you just give me the 411 off the rip based upon these favorite questions. So here we go.
Uh-oh. Okay.
Favorite meal you like to cook?
I don't like to cook. But I love cheese, and so I'm gonna go pasta with lots of cheese. So if it's Italian or Tex-Mex, I'm
Mm,
all about it.
okay, okay. I'm with you on that, girl. I'm with you on that. Now, I do got to ask you this bonus question because you are a Houston native. Is
Yeah.
Whataburger overrated?
Oh, are you trying to get me kicked out of the state of Texas, or I don't think it's overrated, but I mean I've eaten it for years, so
Mm-hmm.
I always
Mm.
get a number one
Okay.
with cheese, Whataburger with cheese. And the
Well,
spicy ketchup
listen.
to me is A1. So no, I don't find it overrated.
That's cool. Listen, I have to ask all Texans that because Whataburger was the first thing that I heard I had to try when I came down to visit my brother
Oh,
in Houston. So I was like, yeah, I,
well,
I
did you
like it.
try it?
Yeah, I like it. I like it. It's pretty good. The fries was okay, but the burger was good. Burger
Okay,
was pretty good. Burger
okay,
was pretty good. I
okay,
would get it again. I will get it again for sure.
okay.
Next time I'm down there in Houston for sure.
Yeah.
I want to ask this next question. That is favorite concert you've ever attended.
Oh, okay. Let me see. I have been to some concerts recently. Um, I'm gonna say so. I'm a huge John Legend fan, and
Oh yeah.
so I forgot. Okay, maybe favorite two concerts.
Okay. Talk
I'm
to
a
me.
huge John Legend fan, so I've seen John Legend a few times. Once by myself, once with my mom, and then once recently with my now fiance. So that's been really cool. I love his music.
Oh
And then
yeah.
I would say my other favorite concert, also enjoyed with my mom, was Alicia Keys. Seeing her live, she came to
Mm.
the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo, well, some time ago now, and so I took my mom, and
Okay.
it was great to see live. So I cheated, but two concerts would be those.
That's okay. I do not mind that one bit. Alicia Keys is definitely something live. She's so amazing live, no question. And John Legend too. I'm actually gonna go see him again. He's coming out here in
Okay.
April, so I'm definitely gonna go see him again. He's one of my favorites. Probably his album Evolver is one of my
Yeah.
favorites.
Yeah.
No question. I love John Legend for sure. Okay, you got some good taste, girl, in music, and
Oh, thank
congratulations on
you.
getting engaged. By the way,
Thank
congratulations. I
you.
love that.
Thank you.
Next question: favorite place you've ever traveled to?
Oh gosh. Um, that's hmm. Well, one of my favorite places. Okay, one of my favorite places currently is Chicago. I went to
Mhm.
Chicago for the first time a couple years ago. I was actually there for the NABJ convention and the National Association of Black Journalists convention. And yeah, I don't know. I had heard about Summertime Shy, but it's a thing. Like it was,
Mhm.
it was really cool. I really enjoyed my time there. Obviously, I was there to work and talk to other students who are trying to get into this industry, which is what it's all about. But in the brief moments of downtime, just being able to, I didn't get to catch a game at Wrigley, but I went to it just to stand outside and get a picture there. So that was cool.
Mhm. Okay. Okay.
Being able
Now,
to
did you
do
get any
that.
deep dish pizza? Did you get any deep dish
Oh,
pizza?
did I try deep dish? I have to say, I don't think I did.
Okay.
I
It's
know.
okay.
I left a lot on the table. But I
Mhm.
was there for work, so that's my excuse. I wasn't there to party or anything.
I
So
totally
it was
understand that.
nice
I
to try
totally
new
do.
things.
I can't believe I missed you because I went to that one. That was the one when Trump came. If you remember
Correct.
that,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
yes, yes.
Hmm.
I was there too. NABJ Chicago.
Yeah.
No question about that. This year is going to be in Atlanta, Georgia, which is no question I will be in town.
Right.
Because that's where I graduated college from, Kennesaw State University, which is
Okay.
20 miles from Atlanta, Georgia. So I will definitely be in town, and I have family over there. So yes, I hope to see you for sure and meet you in person. That'd be amazing.
Very cool. Very cool.
Absolutely. I'm a sports person, as you know, so this is a two-part sports question. Okay,
Oh
favorite
no.
sport you like to watch on TV. Favorite sport you like to attend in person. They could be the same sport.
My favorite sport to watch on TV is actually baseball.
Mm,
It has not
okay.
always been that way because I very much grew up in a house that's about football.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But
For sure.
I enjoy watching baseball and I
Okay.
enjoy watching it in person too. I used to do the scorecards. I don't really know if I remember how to do them anymore, but I enjoyed that piece of the game, marking if someone made it to first base or if it was a pop up or a fly out or whatever.
For sure. For
Or
sure.
the
Okay.
6-3 out, whatever. But
Mhm.
yeah,
Mhm.
so I'm gonna go baseball on both.
Okay. Now, what's your favorite? Is your favorite team the Astros? Since you're a Houston native.
It is the Astros. It is the Astros.
Okay.
So
Awesome. You have a very, I would say, exquisite park. Minute Maid Park, or I'm not even sure they call it Minute Maid Park anymore,
oh,
but that
they
park,
underwent a name change. Now it's Daikin.
Dyke.
Daikin
Wow.
Park.
Wow.
So
I know I just love the setup of the park. The ballpark pool was amazing. I cannot wait to come back to that park and visit that park. It's one of my parks I've already visited. I want to visit all 30. I can scratch that one off the list though. Houston ballpark is pretty good. I like that.
okay,
Okay,
well,
that's what's
thank
up.
you.
You're very welcome. Very welcome. My last of the favorites is I'm a huge foodie. I'm a huge carnivore. So steak, lamb chop, ribs, chicken, it don't matter. But I want to know, what is your favorite restaurant that you like to go out there and eat at?
Oh man. Well, I'm probably gonna get my Houston card revoked because I don't have like a immediate one off the top of my head. My goal is to try more like Houston centric restaurants and not necessarily like the chains. So
Mm,
I wish I could give you like a really awesome rec. But but I feel like I don't have one because I also tend to go like once I find a place that I like, I just kind of keep going there. But I will say this. I recently went to a really, really cute spot called Wheezy's Table. And so
okay.
that I enjoyed. So I can recommend that one because
Okay.
because
No doubt.
I recently went there. But otherwise, as a native Houstonian, I'm still very much navigating my way through our Houston food scene.
Okay. Well, listen, the next time I'm there, I obviously will have to come say hello to you, Brittany. We have to do something, okay? If you're there in Houston, I would love to say hello to you. Obviously, see the ABC station if I could possibly see that, but definitely say hello and go to that restaurant as well. That would be amazing. So I definitely want to do that. I want to talk to you about your day to day. You
Hmm.
know, as director of community engagement, I want to talk to you about your title. What does that consist of? What do you normally do on a day to day basis? That when you work, what time do you start? What time do you end? How many stories do you do a day? As a journalist, as you know, no 2 days are ever the same,
Yeah.
right? Every day is different. Every day is different. You're working on something different. Reason why I love journalism is because it's not stagnant and it's not redundant. You just do different things over and over again. Talk to me about your day-to-day process and talk to me about your particular role as well.
Yeah, I think it's a great question. I would agree with you. I think one of the things that I love about being in news is that it is different every day. I mean,
Hmm.
certainly we might follow stories, the same story for a certain period of time, depending on the developments and how it evolves. But for the most
Sure.
part, you never really know what you're going to get. So,
Right. Right.
so my day to day has changed in that I used to be live on our morning show, and my day had started much earlier than at 5 a.m. to 2 p.m. But now in this role, I'm a little bit more of a normie, and I get to work by 7 a.m. And try to be out by 4 p.m. But I'm not, that's a work in progress, figuring out how to get
Sure.
right
Sure.
on time. Um, so my day to day varies a little bit still, even though I'm not directly in the news grind anymore. It just kind of depends because now, certainly when you're on TV, you are reaching the public through what maybe the most powerful medium still that we have, and that's television and now streaming, really.
Right.
But I'm reaching the public in a different way. So a lot of times, what my day to day looks like is connecting with more of the public, whether that is phone calls, emails, actually traveling to places on site. Because also we have several different campaigns and initiatives aimed at helping the community. That's what we're there for. So
Right.
my day to day, I haven't been in the role a year. It'll be a year at the end of this May. So my day
Okay.
to day, I'm still kind of getting used to a little bit because sometimes it is going off site and spending all day, running one of our community drives. Sometimes it is still being able to write stories, except instead of day of stories or spot news stories, I'm working a little bit more on other pieces that are more community related and might therefore take a little bit more time to put together.
Right.
So it just kind of depends. But yeah, it's been something a little different each day still, which is good. That's how you grow and that's how you learn, even if there are challenges. And so I would also say my role, one of my favorite parts about this role is I've always being in news always I think requires you to work with all types of personalities and all types of
No question.
people
No question.
inside and
Yes.
outside of the building and being
Mhm.
able to be okay with that
Mhm.
no matter what
Mhm.
that looks like. um, but I think even more so now, I'm really connecting with a lot of the departments inside of our news station because whenever we do have students come visit, for example, I like to make sure they're aware you don't just have opportunities to be on camera. I know people want to be anchors and reporters, and that is fantastic, and those are awesome critical roles to have and that we need.
Right.
But we have a marketing department, we have a graphics department, we have sales, editors, and production. So in my current role, I'm really getting to see more of that full scope and work more with all of those departments because really how we serve our community. It's not just me by myself. It's
Right.
how can we rally together as a team to make this the best that we can, and it truly takes all of us. Like, I don't want to sound cliche, but it really does. So I think that's been the biggest part of my role is I worked with everybody before, but even more so now. It's a matter of how can I communicate well so everyone can be on the same page.
Sure. When people look at that title, Director of Community Engagement, it's like, man, that's an awesome title. But then people don't really know what goes into that. People don't know what comes with that. People don't know what's all the responsibilities that you have. And it's a great question to ask because, like you said, being able to work with different personalities, being able to also advocate about more jobs than what the standard is, right? They see Brittany, who's in front of the camera, who's an anchor or a reporter, that what you've been doing as a journalist, and like, wow, that looks amazing. You must have it made. But they don't understand the behind the scenes of what goes into being in front of that camera, right? They don't understand that it does take a village to be in front of that camera. They don't understand the behind the scenes work you put in to get in front of the camera and what you're doing with the editing, the writing, and all this, that, and the third. But also the different jobs. Like you said, production. marketing, sales. People don't know about all these jobs, all different kinds of jobs, which I also substitute teach as well.
Oh, wow.
Especially, yeah. So I substitute teach on the K through 12 level. But whenever I get to my high school students of substitute teaching, they ask me about journalism. I always say, don't put yourself in a Pandora's box. Understand that there's a plethora of roles out there that you can do. You don't just need to be in front of the camera or you don't need to be an anchor. You can do amazing roles. You can do radio. You can do TV. You can work with a firm. You can work with a team. You can work in a many different communicative type of roles. But you have to also try those things too. Also try them
Hmm.
and see what you like, see what you don't like. Because there's going to be some things that you probably like. There's going to be some things that you don't like, and then you can kind of filter and see what avenue and lane you want to go into and then pursue that lane. And that's what I try to tell my students that ask me about journalism as well.
Yeah, I think that's great advice. That's a little bit of the advice I try to share with any students I speak to as well, just because I think even for myself, I had a very narrow, like, I want to do this
Yep.
right off the bat. And
Hmm.
I think that's awesome, and you should have goals. I think sometimes, though, give yourself grace and be flexible because
Sure.
my first job in TV was not on the air. I got in the door as a production assistant at one of our other
Mm.
TV stations here in Houston. And so once I
Gotcha.
was in, I was able to learn more and maneuver. And so I just try to tell students that as well as be open minded. I think,
Yeah.
don't lose sight of your dreams by any means, and it doesn't mean don't pursue a certain thing.
Hmm.
But you never know where you can gain those other skills, and I think taking initiative, and I think being willing to say yes. If there's something new to try, if there's a new tool, piece of equipment, if there's whatever it is, being willing to be like, sure, I'll try that. Show me how to do that. Because I think the more you can do, the more valuable that makes you, especially because there are so
Absolutely.
many platforms, like, yes, we have television, but again, there's streaming, which is just completely disrupted the industry, not necessarily in a bad way, but it's changed things, and streaming is only going
For
to
sure.
continue to become more prolific in that way.
Right.
There's social media, there's new social apps every time we look up. So I think the more you can not put yourself in the box, it serves you well.
Absolutely. Now, I want to ask you this particular question, and predominantly I ask people of ethnic color this question, and that is, it's a representation question. A lot of times when you see journalists here and you see people in the journalism industry, we don't see a whole lot of us unless we come to a convention, especially women, women of choice. But my question to you is that how valuable or how much pride or how good does it make you feel to be one of those um someone that's on TV that's representing the African American woman, the minority woman in the journalism space? Because we need more. I feel faces like ourselves to be on TV, and not to say that no other race can do it or nobody else can do it, but I'm just saying the lack of is clearly exhibited through our TV screens. How proud is it that you are one of those people, and what is your thoughts on that as well?
Well, I feel very grateful, first of all, to have had the opportunity to do that consistently. I'm not on as much anymore, and when I am on, it's usually for our community related events or stories.
Absolutely.
But even just having the opportunity to do it, I think now more than ever, I realize how closely people watch.
Yeah.
And I think that's important to realize that it's certainly not just about you. People are
Right.
watching, right? Younger people are watching,
Hmm.
and so for me, I think it is a really truly an honor because I work at the station that I grew up watching, that my
Yep.
parents watched, and I know that's not the story for everyone. Um, but for me, it is a really big deal, and one that I even when times maybe things are challenging or it's been a tough day or a long week, I try to remind myself of that because not everyone gets to be in that position. And so it's a huge honor to me to even be able to tell stories or to even connect with people as I'm able to do in this role. And I would also say, in speaking to people of color, you're absolutely right. I think, representation has to be there on camera, especially living in a diverse city as I do in Houston.
Well, question.
Um, but representation is also really important behind the camera.
Yes, it is.
Because, again, I think the thought is, well, I want to be on the air, and that is awesome, and you should absolutely do that. But someone told me a long time ago that there's power in production. The power is in production because you have news managers and you have producers and you have decision makers basically who are in the room discussing stories and
Mhm.
what we're going to cover before anything even makes it on the air.
Right.
So I would say that's really important too, is to have a newsroom that's reflective of the city and the culture that you're in. Not just for on-air purposes, and maybe not even just for producing purposes, but just so you can continue to learn from each other and make sure that the communities you're covering are accurately and fairly represented.
Right.
I don't think that means sugarcoat anything by any means, or don't cover it as it should be. If it's a hard story, it's a hard story. If
Right.
the truth is difficult to swallow, that's just what it is. You still tell the truth.
Right.
But I think that's also why there's value in having different voices, and not just, I know the question was related to ethnicity and color, but also different ages, gender, religion, abilities, different backgrounds. Because again, I might be able to tell you all about the history of this certain person, but I may not worship the way that you do, or I may not be a part of the
Sure.
particular culture that you're in. So that's
Right.
where I think it's super valuable to just make sure that you do have newsrooms that have people who think differently and different schools of thought. So anyway, I don't know if I answered your question, but
No, you did. No, no, no. You
but
stood 10 toes down, girl. No question about it. You definitely answered. Listen, diversity is pretty much what the answer I was looking for. Diversity in not just genders, like you said, religions, ethnicity, but also just diversity in topics. Just being able to differentiate, because like you said, everybody may not worship the same. Everybody may not have knowledge on every single thing. So it's good to have diversity, especially in a city that is so diverse, that has all different kinds, right? To have all different kinds of topics and people talking about it. And I love that. I love Houston is like that for sure. I
Mhm.
want to ask you about mental health and work life balance because I've seen a lot of journalists, Brittany, that
Yeah,
have left this industry because their mental health was affected. I've
yeah,
seen a lot of journalists leave this industry because of work life balance. Work life balance is very hard. Journalism is never stops, it's all the time. Sports is nights and weekends. News can be that as well. But and like you said, it's soft news is hard news. I want to know, how do you keep your mental health strong and still have that work life balance? Because like you said, you got family, a fiance now. You need Brittany time too. You seem like a wonderful woman to be around. I certainly wouldn't mind hanging out with you, and I think your friends and family feel the same way about you. But you are very also dedicated to your job in journalism and know the rigors of it. So tell me, how do you keep balance of mental health and work life balance without being overwhelmed or burnt out?
yeah. Well, it's a great question. I have to say, work in progress, really.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't have a super neat buttoned up answer for that because I'm extremely guilty of I'm gonna blame mom here. I get it from my mom. I get it from my parents. Of like I started something, I need to finish it, and I want to finish it in that day.
Right.
But I'm learning to prioritize better because sometimes you're not gonna finish everything in a day, and the work will never be done.
Right.
So I have to say I'm a work in progress on that, and really trying to understand what needs to happen right now and what can wait a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're right, I think now more than ever I'm realizing how precious time is, and that once it's gone and you don't get it back. And I don't want
Right.
to miss critical moments with family and with friends because I was like, oh no, I gotta, but it is hard, because I work with really passionate people. We all love what we do and we love the stories that we tell. And it's hard to walk away from it. You want it perfect, you know. But I'm definitely learning how to what is the word I'm trying to say? Boundaries. That's it.
Right. Boundaries.
How to
Boundaries.
find boundaries, how to be
Hmm.
mindful of what I'm saying yes to or no to. And then, I probably should have started with this, but frankly, what I hold on to is my faith. That keeps me grounded. That is important to me. Um, you know, Making sure that I leave room for that, even if it's 5 minutes of prayer or just having some quiet time. That helps me reset and just kind of, I think more than anything, remind me of what I'm doing and why I'm here. And I just want to make
Hmm.
sure that I'm fulfilling my purpose and that it's not selfishly for Brittany, but it's, am I doing what I was created to do? Um,
Sure.
and so that really helps me and has helped me. And like I said, I am in no way, shape, or form perfect with it. I'm trying to become more at peace with, like, maybe some things aren't going to be perfect or maybe something is not going to get finished in one night. But
Sure.
as long as God keeps waking me up, I'll be able to move on to the next task and achieve what I set out to do.
No, I love that. I really do. I love that answer. You gave great answers all conversation long. But it's a question again worth asking because, like you said, mental health is such an important piece now,
Yeah.
more so than ever. It's being talked about. There's a lot of people that I've had on this platform that talk about going to therapy. There's a lot of
Yeah.
people that say mental health, they've had mental health breakdowns because of being in this industry. And whatever industry it is, I just think it's very important to have those kind of boundaries. You said it. Boundaries are super important to have because you can get overwhelmed and you can feel like it's overbearing. You can get burnt out, because you feel like you're going 100 miles per hour
Hmm.
in this industry doing it, right? So
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. Now, I want to ask this because it's a great segue. What advice would you give the individual that wants to be in the journalism industry? We kind of touched up on it, but solidify that. What advice would you give that individual that wants to be in the journalism industry?
Hmm. I would probably repeat, I think, what I said a little bit earlier. Just being open minded, not being afraid to say yes, um, and don't give up. I'm sure that sounds, excuse me, pretty cliche, but I think there are times that can make it difficult, whether that be, do you have to move away from your family? I'm not saying that has to happen all the time. And a lot of times it doesn't. The industry has
Hmm.
changed in that there are a lot of folks who don't move away and are able to find a
Right.
job right where they are, which is wonderful for them.
Yep.
There is still sacrifice, though. Like you said, there are still shifts that you have to work because news doesn't sleep. And so
Right.
when the hurricane, for us, when the hurricane is coming, we're telling everybody evacuate or hunker down or whatever. Where journalists are the ones who have to go toward the danger, have to go toward the storm, have to be at work for 12-hour shifts or sleep at the station or whatever the case. So it can be challenging, but I would say definitely don't give up. And I think finding those mentors, even within the station, getting to know the people, your tribe, as some might say, who can kind of help you through it, so you can encourage each other, right? Because sometimes you're going to have those moments where you've got to encourage yourself, but having those
Right.
people that you can reach out to and be like, hey, this is what I'm going through right now, and they're just going to listen to you, and you guys can encourage each other and just kind of get back on track that way. I feel like that has helped me tremendously. And maybe I'm a little biased too because I've been at this station now for going on 10 years. So you start to do life with these people, right? You start to experience highs and lows in your personal life with these people, so they become family to you. So I think just maybe just keeping that in mind as well. As remember, what you set out to do and why you wanted to do it. I think that if you have a motivation other than perhaps wanting to serve or anything like that, You might want to try a different route because sometimes it's not glamorous. You know,
Right.
I think
Absolutely not.
there are certainly perks maybe or opportunities that lend themselves to like, oh, that was really cool. The World Series trophy came by the station. You know, like things
Yeah.
like that are awesome, but it's not
Hmm.
always that. And so
Absolutely.
if it's like I want to be rich and I want to be famous, you know, I think to a certain degree you can get there, you know, but it like you talked about, it requires work, you know. People maybe didn't
Absolutely.
see the behind the scenes and the grind that you have to go through, you know, maybe missing out on certain family occasions or staying up late to write that story or working on weekends. You know, it's attainable, um,
Hmm.
but there is a level of sacrifice I think that's required. So you know, I think that would just kind of be my advice is just be thoughtful about it. Remember your motivation about it. And stay connected to the people that you meet because a lot of times you do run into the same people, you know, like, yeah, the industry I feel like can be quite small in that way. I feel like even the city of Houston can be small. Like, you know,
For
you never
sure.
know who you're going to run into. Like, yeah, there's millions of people here and there's traffic everywhere. But one way or
Hmm.
another, you kind of have a connection. So just be careful how you treat people. I would say that's the biggest thing too is lead with that kindness because I think even if you're not super skilled at something, you're like, man, I just don't possess that talent. I think that's okay. If you're a kind person, if you're willing to learn, I think people will be much rather willing to take you under their wing than not. If you know you kind of go in there with a bad attitude or kind of an arrogant attitude, but I think just lead humanity first. Lead with you're a person first. We all are. And the work will be there. There's no shortage of it at the moment. So,
You ain't lying about that. You are
so
not lying
those,
about that.
you know, probably some of the tips I would have.
No, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. I mean, she ain't lying, y'all. She's not lying. I mean, that's just real. You definitely gonna have to continue to work.
Yeah.
Sacrifice and commitment is big. Being in this industry. This industry is a beautiful industry to be in. Storytelling is amazing, but you got to get into it for the right reasons. It's one of the reasons why I do this platform is that because people do see the handsome guy on TV or the beautiful woman that's on TV that's reporting, but don't understand that she's carrying a wagon full of equipment
Hmm.
behind the scenes to try to set up, or don't understand that he is out there sweating his what off behind the scenes trying to get ready for a live shot, or they're in an area that they might not be familiar with, and this might be dark and it might be gloomy and stuff like that, or deadlines. I mean, I'm pretty sure this
Yes,
has happened to you.
deadlines.
Deadlines, right? I'm pretty
Yes.
sure this has happened to you, Brittany, where you have gotten everything set up and then all of a sudden somebody canceled the interview, somebody canceled something on last minute, and you had to do a pivot
Yeah.
on a story. And I know this happened to me too. And I'm like, damn. And you like just, oh my goodness. But that's the life of a journalist.
Yeah.
And guess what? That deadline ain't gonna move
I was gonna
because you
say the
still got.
deadlines don't change. You
Mm-mm,
know, depending on your role within a station, they might become a little bit more flexible and allow you more time to work ahead. But the fact of the
for
matter
sure.
is, there is a deadline, especially if you're looking to be on the air. You don't want to miss
Hmm.
slot. You know, you got to file that
Hmm.
story. You got to have something. And if you don't
Hmm.
think you will, communicate as
Communicate.
quickly and as often as you can. But yeah, deadlines don't change. There is always a deadline to be met somewhere.
Absolutely. Now, I'm gonna touch upon this again because as you being a Houston native and working in Houston, we kind of talked about it a little bit. Most college students that graduate that want to be in this industry have to move to
Mhm.
Timbuktu. They got to move to a different place, to a lower market, right?
Right,
Houston's a pretty big market.
right.
Now, mind you, obviously, I know you talked about it being a blessing working in your hometown. Talk to me about how much of it a special it is to you to work there in your hometown for 10 plus years. For people, when you go up to the grocery store, you pumping gas, and people notice you from Houston, ABC 13. They're like, "Oh, Brittany, hey!" Like how special is that for people to, they used to see you on TV, but even seeing you in the community now, working for that station.
Oh man, no, it is. It's a huge blessing and a huge deal. And I think, um, again, I've only really realized it more so now. Because
Hmm.
again, like I said, people are watching. They're watching to see what you're doing, how you're doing it, what you're saying, how you carry yourself. And I think especially in my hometown is special because, like you were saying, let's say you have to move, so you have to learn the neighborhoods, you have to learn the
Yeah.
people, you have to learn the streets and how to pronounce things.
Right.
I thankfully had that leg up a little bit because my parents are local, and so I grew up hearing certain things and hearing certain stories.
Hmm.
So I would say that's certainly been very helpful, and just if anything, it's made me want to know the city more.
Right.
Almost kind of like let me explore it as if I'm new here, because there are a
Hmm.
lot of things that I don't know, and there's a lot about our history that I'm still uncovering and being like, oh, that's where that is. I think especially now as an adult, because I drive myself around. When you're a kid or you're a
For
teenager, your
sure.
parents are taking you everywhere and showing you different neighborhoods and different things. Now it's me, and so now I'm like, oh, that's right. That's what Dad was talking about.
Right, right, right. That dawns on you now,
Yeah,
right? As you're
yeah,
driving around. I got you.
yeah.
Okay.
So, but it's extremely, I'm grateful, but it's also really humbling too, right? Because
Hmm.
I don't just represent myself. I'm representing my family. I think from a professional perspective, obviously representing um, the station. So that's the other thing as well, is it's like it's not just how you act on TV or in front of a crowd or when you're public
Right.
speaking. How are you acting at the gas pump? How did you treat the cashier? What is your attitude at the restaurant? Because I think that's the other
Hmm.
side of it that people might not even realize is, and not just speaking for myself, but maybe for other colleagues as well, is that I don't know, can you have a bad day? Or if you do, making sure that you don't take that out on the public because they may
Hmm.
not know that you're having a bad day. Um,
Sure.
so it's that's why I say as well, it's humbling. It makes you kind of think about, well, what is my attitude like? How did I just react in this moment? And obviously, again, we're human, and so sometimes it's just natural. You react how you react to things sometimes. But it certainly made me think twice, and just being really mindful of how I am as a person. Um, yeah, because I appreciate people so much for watching our station, for watching me, for supporting me, and for having grace with me because I definitely didn't always get it right either. Just in terms of
Sure.
starting out early days, and it's like, ooh, child, like, why did you say that? Why were you wearing that, or whatever, whatever it is.
Right. Right.
So
Right.
it's humbling. Yeah.
No, I love that. I love that answer. And that's funny that you say that because especially with me being a sports reporter, sometimes, I'm an outgoing person, Brittany, and I like to go out. I like to, have a good time as obviously with the podcast, work hard, play harder. I like
Right.
to do that. However, you do find yourself thinking like, man, I really don't want to get into like any sports arguments with people. I really got to be cognitive of what I'll say, who I'm around, how I'm acting, what am I drinking, stuff like
Yeah.
that. Because
Yeah.
being in the media space, all it takes is just one knucklehead and one thing to say wrong, and then something can go sideways. And I tell my family that all the time. Like, I gotta really be cognitive of what I'm doing and what I'm saying. Like, because people they hold you accountable,
Yeah. Absolutely.
and they will say things to you just to get a rise out of you as well. So you definitely have to almost 2 times, dumb it down a little bit and be conscious of, okay, you know what? I have to go to certain places and there's certain places that I have to avoid, that I can't not go to and can't really have fun at. And that's cool. I understand that, but that's being a part of the media because you just know that when you're a part of the media that there's extra eyeballs on you, there's people watching you and you have to do that. And I know you do that out there in Houston being at a big time market as you do. I'm kind of freelance, but still all when I do my freelance thing, I'm writing for these different networks, so I'm doing
Yeah.
these different spots. I got to pay attention because they're paying me. So I
Right.
definitely got to pay attention to be able to do that. So I totally understand what you're saying on that. Um, we've reached a portion of the podcast though that we're going to play my interactive game called
Okay.
This or That. So it's a game I like to play with all my guests here on the Work Hard, Play Harder podcast. And Brittany, it's very simple. I'm going to throw some things at you, and you get to choose this or that. So, are you ready?
I hope so. I guess as ready. I mean, as ready as I can be.
Okay, here we go. We're going to start it off like this. If you had a choice to choose a restaurant to go in and sit in and eat at, out of these two, which one would you choose? Texas Roadhouse or Longhorn Steakhouse?
Oh, Texas Roadhouse.
Oh, okay. You like the cinnamon rolls, don't you? The
They
cinnamon, the
are.
cinnamon bun. I knew it, girl. I knew it. We on point. We on point. Here we go. When it comes to chicken wings,
Uh-oh.
which flavor would you rather put on the chicken wing? Barbecue or lemon pepper?
Lemon pepper.
Do you like your wings wet or dry?
Oh, yeah, wet. Wet wings.
Do you like your wings bone in or boneless?
Bone in.
Okay, so you like to get a little messy with it. I'm with you. I'm with you on that. Get a wet wipe and go to work. I'm with you on that. I know that. I love that. I can put about 10, 15 down with some fries. I'm a huge wing person. I love
Right.
wings. So I'm with you on that. We are off to a damn good start. Let's keep this going. These next 4 questions have to do with music concerts you rather attend. Okay,
Okay.
so here we go. Which music concert would you rather go to? Rihanna or Beyonce?
Oh my gosh. I can I plead the fifth? That's hard. I don't want to get like kicked out of the city. That's tough. I don't know. They're both fabulous. I'm gonna weasel out and say
Well, okay. Now you said both. But and listen, that's a good answer. Both is good. Which one is 51%? Which one is 49%?
okay, I'm gonna go 51 Beyonce only because she's a Houstonian.
Okay.
It's tough because
Okay.
I do love Rihanna. So
Oh, listen. You love Riri, and I love Riri too. Now, did you like Beyonce's country album, Cowboy Carter?
I listened to a few songs off of it, and I did. I did. I thought,
Okay.
more than anything, again, now that I'm an adult, when I was younger, I was like, oh, I just love the beat, but now I'm trying to pay more attention to what people are actually saying.
I
Um,
feel that.
and
Hmm.
so actually listening to the lyrics in the music, yeah, I liked it.
Okay. Here we go. Now, which music concert would you rather go see? Would you rather go see SZA or would you rather see her?
I like her. Yeah, I'm gonna go her.
I do too. I do too. She's an amazing artist. No question about that. Okay, here we go. Which music concert would you rather go see? Monica or Brandy?
Oh my gosh. I'm gonna go Brandy just because I have the album that has "The Boy Is Mine" on it and "Angel in Disguise" and all those songs. So I'm gonna
Oh
go
yeah.
Brandy.
Ooh, Angel in Disguise is one of my sleepers. That's the same album that has Almost Doesn't Count on it too.
It does.
Yeah,
That's correct.
yes,
Yep.
absolutely. That's a classic. Okay, you got some good taste, girl. I like that. Last of the music concert. Which music concert would you rather go see? Would you rather go see Kendrick Lamar or Drake?
Oh my gosh. Oh no. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I think I'm gonna have to
Mm.
plead the fifth again. Um, I will say I know more Drake's songs, I guess, just because of how viral they went, you know.
Sure, sure.
I don't know that I would go to his concert. Um, but I mean, I like Kendrick. I don't know. I'm trying not to get canceled.
Okay, let's preface this by saying you do like both artists. You like both
Yes,
artists
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
you enjoy their music. You do.
yeah.
But which one is 51% and which one is 49? Talk to me,
Okay, all
Brittany.
right. Well, probably Drake, just because I can sing along with more. So
Very
we'll
true.
go with that.
Okay.
We'll go with that.
Okay.
But I would leave Drake's and go to Kendrick Lamar's after, just so I can hear Mustard, so I can hear DJ Mustard. But that's about it.
Oh yeah, mustard on the beat, Joe.
Mustard
I'm
on the
with you on that. I'm with you on that. That's what's up with it. That's what's up with it. Okay. Now let's go back to sports.
okay.
Which sport, if you had to, out of these two sports, which sport would you rather watch on TV? Basketball or football?
Football.
Okay. Which sport would you rather play? Badminton or bowling?
Well, I don't know how to play badminton, so I'm gonna go bowling.
Uh, You like, oh no, I don't know how to play that. I'm good. Okay. Are you a good bowler?
No.
Oh,
I would like to think that I am. In my head, I can just pick up a piece of equipment or a ball or a bat and just do things, do great things. But in reality, it doesn't play out that way.
well, listen,
So
Brittany, you can't be extraordinary good in everything. You know what I mean? There's just some things that we just can't be good in. I
yeah.
can't skate work, but you know what? I cannot skate at all.
Oh, okay.
But
All right. Well, there
uh,
we are.
you know what I mean? So I love that. Okay. Do you like desserts?
I do.
Okay. So I'm going to name four categories of desserts. You have to choose one of these categories that you would discard, get rid of, and never eat again. Okay. So
Okay.
here we go. The first category is ice cream. The next category is cookies. The next category is candy. The last category is grouped together. Cake/pies. Which one are you getting rid of?
I'm gonna go candy.
And I would say you on point like a period. Because I would have picked the same thing, girl. I would have picked the same thing, Brittany. Now, I'm gonna ask you, what is your favorite ice cream?
Well, I like chocolate chip cookie dough, so
Okay, okay. That's a classic right there.
I
Now
like
that's
all
my
of them.
second favorite.
Yeah.
That is my second favorite ice cream. So I love that. I love that. My first favorite is cookies and cream. So cookies and
Okay,
cream
that
is my
is a
first
good one.
favorite.
That is good. That's good. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Now, do you like potato chips?
Yes.
Same format. I'm gonna name four brands. You gotta discard one of these, you'll never eat again. So here we go with the brands. The first one is gonna be Pringles.
Okay.
The next one is going to be Lay's. The next one is going to be Doritos.
Mm.
The last one will be Ruffles. Which one are you getting rid of?
You can go. We can go Ruffles. I don't need a whole lot of them.
Oh my gosh. Oh Lord. No, you did not just say Ruffles. Lord have mercy. Okay. You know what? If we walking into a grocery store, Brittany, and I say, go to the chip aisle and buy your favorite chip, what chip are you buying?
Ooh, probably Doritos.
Mm.
Yeah, probably
Any flavor? Any flavor?
the cheesy one. Either that or like the
Mm.
Lay's sour cream and onion. I love sour and cream and onion. So
Okay, so you definitely redeemed yourself. But
okay.
the greatest chip ever made is Ruffles sour cream and cheddar. I'm just gonna throw that out there.
Oh
That's
no.
that's the that's the greatest chip ever made. That's just my opinion. But you did very well on this or that. You were very very well. I love that. That was awesome. Now I want to ask you bucket list. And the reason why I want to ask you this is because I want you to speak it into existence.
Mm.
Give me a top four of things you would like to do in your career that you haven't done yet.
Oh lordy. Um, I would like to visit Good Morning America. I think that would be cool.
Yeah,
That would
me
be
too. Me
fun.
too.
I don't know about career, but I'd like to go to the Met Gala. But that's but that's exclusive, and I don't have the connect to Anna Wintour, so that would be
Mm,
pretty neat. Um, would love to check out an Oscars, just to be in the room with all the Academy Award winning and nominated talent.
for
Um,
sure.
hmm. Oh, Also for career, I don't know. Maybe go to a Super Bowl. That would be cool. I'm just
I'm
gonna
gonna tell
hit
you
like
what.
the big events. Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you what. I had the opportunity of working the Super Bowl in New Orleans last year. You would have the time of your life. There is no question about it. All week long, if you ever get a chance, if ABC 13 ever gives you a chance to do it there in Houston, because they're coming back to Houston sooner or later, if they give you a chance to do that, you should jump on it. Opening night is absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
It's so many media members that's there. I was there all week long last year, and they have a media party as well, which is off the chain. You would just have the time of your life. I can definitely give you some recs on that, on what to do at Super Bowl and stuff like that, because it was amazing. Didn't make it this year because it's out there in California, but next
Right.
year I'm planning. I'm planning on definitely going to Inglewood,
Yeah.
California for sure, no question. Talked about advice you gave, but what is some advice that someone has gave you, Brittany, that you hold on dearly to?
Okay, well, let me see if I can repeat it um, properly. But I believe he said, know a lot about a little and know a little about a lot. So that's
Hmm.
something that I've kind of just held on to, and I thought it was great advice because I think as a journalist you're gonna learn a lot. You're
Hmm.
gonna be exploring topics and finding things you're like, well, I didn't have that on my bingo card. I didn't know I needed to know that today. Um,
Right.
but I also think that's what makes it exciting and fascinating and fun is you're like, oh, that's how that process works. So I appreciate that he told me that because too then I think your friends and your family will be like, tell me about this, and now you can give them that background. So I think that's some of the advice that I really hold on to is just knowing a little bit about everything. I may not be an expert about everything, but again, I think being willing to know a little bit about everything has helped. Just because too, it keeps me open minded. It keeps me learning, and being willing to hear other perspectives or just finding out things that maybe I hadn't known before. And then just being able to speak to, as students think about, well, is there an area of expertise that I can contribute that makes me
Hmm.
stand out? And I think that's where that other part of the advice came in with know a lot about a little, because maybe there is a niche there that you can kind of capitalize on and be like, well, who wants to know about, I don't know, handbags? I say that because my handbag's in front of me, but but whatever it is, I think that can be helpful too. If there is some type of information that you have that's like, oh, okay, yeah, I can deep dive into that. I can learn about that. I can become the expert on that because you never know what insight people might need.
Absolutely. I love that advice. I think some of the advice that I was given for sure was to be able to. I know I talked about try everything, but also to try to just gain as much knowledge as you possibly can
Yeah.
on everything in the industry. Keep your eyes and ears open. And
Hmm.
for me, life has kind of slowed down in that sense. And the reason why I say that, and when people do watch this, life has kind of slowed down because I'm older now, right? I'm in my 30s now, and I feel like when you start in this industry, especially when you get out of college and you're in your young 20s, you're like, go, 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 yes, yes, yes. You're like all the time, and you're just wet behind the ears a little bit. But when you have some years in this industry, you kind of get more seasoned. You kind of understand your niche, your niche. You kind of understand what to say no to. You kind of understand how to go about stories. Things are not as overwhelming to you, and life just slows down. And especially not just life, but in the journalism sense of storytelling. You
Yeah.
just get much better at it. You get much better at it, and you also start developing in other areas of journalism, like as far as your editing goes, your writing goes, your production goes. You just get better with your craft. And I love that advice. Just keep your eyes and your ears open and just gain knowledge with everything. And I love that. I love my mentors at my university, which was Kennesaw State University, that told me that. And I still hold on to that dearly to this day. And Brittany, this has been a dope conversation. I am very, very ecstatic that I got a chance to talk to you and have you on my platform. I think you have given some great advice. I think you are absolutely a great representation of not only our community, but the journalism community of what a journalist should be like, what someone in the journalism field should be like, what a leader should be like as well. I'm thankful, I'm blessed that I be able to talk to you on my platform. My final question to you is going to be, is there anything else you would like to add about yourself, the job, or anything at all before we conclude?
Oh gosh. Well, first I just want to thank you, Chris, again for having me. And for reaching out and thinking enough of me that, I had something that you thought might be valuable for people to hear. So yeah, I'm thankful for being able to speak here, and I'm thankful really for any opportunity I have to do so, because I also try to hold on to what it was like for me as a student, wanting to get into the door, wanting to get my first job, sending out resumes, cover letters, CDs
Yeah,
that my dad helped me burn of my reel,
for
driving me
sure.
around to deliver packages and mail those packages and hoping to hear back. I try to hold on to that so that I don't forget, in my position, what it was like, um, so that I can reach back hopefully and provide some type of help to those who are trying to do the same thing. So yeah, I don't know that I really have anything to add other than I appreciate you allowing me to speak here, and hopefully, whatever I said is helpful to someone. But but yeah, I
For
just,
sure.
just continue to pursue if that's what you want to do. Is it is possible. And I will also say, don't get frustrated if the path doesn't look exactly how you thought it would,
For
because
sure.
I'm definitely one of those people that loves my plans, and it's like, no, in 2 years I'm supposed to be here, and in another 2 years I'm supposed to be here and have done this, and it doesn't always work that way.
For
You're
sure.
ultimately not in control. So that's a lesson that
Mhm.
I am learning every single day over and over again. And so, it's okay if the path that you're trying, wherever you're trying to go, your destination, it's okay if it's not a straight line, because chances are it's not going to be.
Right.
But be comfortable in that, and just remember what you want to do and why you want to do it.
Absolutely. Don't get discouraged. You'll get a whole lot more no's than you will ever get yeses in this industry. But all you need is one yes.
That's true.
Well, that first yes will allow you to get more yeses. But don't get discouraged because, like I said, it happens to all journalists and people in the media industry, especially. They will get more no's than yeses. But
Yeah.
keep on applying, keep doing what you do, keep networking. Make sure you network. Go to these NABJs, as we just talked about.
Hmm.
Huge convention coming up in Atlanta, Georgia this year of 2026. Please go to these conventions, pass out business cards, resumes, do what you need to do in order to have your voice be heard and be able to step onto a platform as well. But again, Brittany, I want you to enjoy your Monday. Enjoy the rest of your week. You and I would definitely be in touch. I cannot wait to meet you down the line, girl. No question about it. It will be fun. So you take care. Thank you again and have a good night.
Thank you. You as well.
No problem.